Hello and welcome everybody. It's Janet Beckers from Attract Your Tribe Radio, and I'm really excited to welcome you and introduce you to Cindy Troast. Hi, Cindy.
Hey, Janet.
Hi. Now, Cindy's been a member of our Attract Your Tribe Accelerator program, and I just absolutely have loved watching Cindy's beautiful, calm progress as she's been building her business. And also every single week I get to see how she walks her talk. And so much so that I know she's been helping people in our group. I pick up things and learn from Cindy all the time. And I really wanted to be able to introduce her to you so that you can get to learn this amazing woman who just is the most beautiful, magical manifester. You know, really great at not only being able to really calmly teach around using law of attraction, but also practices what she preaches. So, yes, it's wonderful to welcome you here, Cindy. It's before, to help us to get started, would you mind sharing like who it is that you help and how it is that you do that?
Sure. Thanks so much, Janet. I really appreciate being here. And I personally love helping women entrepreneurs. I help women entrepreneurs learn the law of attraction and also dump their emotional baggage, because I'm a law of attraction coach and I'm also an emotion code practitioner,
Right.
Which is a type of energy healing.
And so, and your big focus there is helping them to clear that emotional energy so that they can really attract ideal clients, isn't it? That's
exactly
really very
because
simple.
our emotional baggage can really get in the way of what we want to attract.
Yeah. Now, what we're going to be doing today, everybody that's listening here, is Cindy's actually going to be teaching us a 3-step process and using some really good and very specific examples so you can see exactly how it's done. It's very cool. It's one of the most applicable sort of ways that I've heard to actually make this happen. So I'm really excited that we're going to be covering that. So get ready, because you'll definitely be taking notes and you'll definitely be taking action at the end of this call. What I thought we might just dive a little bit into further is, why this, Cindy? So if we just want to get a little insight into what makes you tick. So why, of all of the different things, this area around law of attraction? And then we'll go in a little bit further about your focus with your business.
Sure. You know, I have really been fascinated by the law of attraction for many years. It really started back when I was a teenager, and I just started hearing about this thing called law of attraction. And I thought, well, as you know, Janet, my motto is, this is going to be easy. So,
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought, gosh, it seems like life would be a whole lot easier if I knew more about this incredible thing called the law of attraction and knew how I could use my thoughts and my feelings to really create my reality and to attract the things that I want into my life. So I began studying it more and more and practicing it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I love that line that you've just said about this is going to be easy, because I can remember when we first met, you had just recovered from breast cancer, and
Right.
you were sharing with me around how you had used the law of attraction and also your positive, not just positive thinking. You took control of the dialogue that everybody else had around how you were being treated, through your illness. And that was the big mantra that I just absolutely loved, was this is going to be easy. And
Absolutely.
yeah. And, that's been a mantra that I've shared with quite a few people. Just most recently, it was something that was really a big aha for a friend of mine who has brain cancer, that, I was just saying, well, Cindy, this is what worked with Cindy. And she really made the progress so that it wasn't as stressful. Yeah, so that, I just wanted to really highlight that particular phrase, because it can just sound like it's a simple thing, but if you actually use that as your approach to any issue you've got and keep on saying that, it's really worked. I've seen it been working with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So now let's look at, because everybody that's listening here is an entrepreneur. And so as well as learning around the law of attraction and how we're going to be applying that to attract clients, everybody's also going, okay, I'm curious about Cindy and her business models. And so because the law of attraction, you know, you've got a very distinct setting, you know, distinct steps that could be used for so many different purposes to help so many different types of people for, you know, to do so many things. So why entrepreneurs, and why specifically around attracting clients?
Yeah, you know, I think entrepreneurship is probably the best self-development program in the world.
Oh yeah,
And
are you there?
yeah, I've always been about personal development, and I really have always been fascinated by the whole idea of being an entrepreneur. And it was kind of destiny for me. I always felt called to do my own thing. And so I think it's very natural for me then to work with entrepreneurs, because those are the people I like to hang with.
Yeah,
And
right.
I love the creativity and the ideas. And, you know, I believe that if there were more women entrepreneurs in the world who were really living a fulfilled life and living their purpose, the world would just be a better place. And so
Yeah.
it's my little contribution to teach women entrepreneurs how to use the law of attraction so they can really love their business, be fulfilled in their business, and they can work with their dream clients, because I think that makes it a better place for all of us.
Oh, that is such a beautiful reason for choosing, you know, the niche that you go down to. And you know what? The challenge that I've got for you when you're listening here is, I love how Cindy said that's the people who she likes to hang with. Like, that's who gives her a buzz. You know, you're creating a business, so you get to choose these sorts of things. So the question I've got for you here is, have a look at who you're working with. You know, does it give you joy? Does it give you a buzz? Because you've got control over this. You can change who it is that you're working with. And I'm sure we're going to be getting into a lot of that stuff when we get into our details on using the law of attraction as well. So let's now go. Actually, I just wanted to ask you very briefly. You've mentioned that you use the law of attraction. And I can tell you, every single week with the Attract program, the accelerator program, the Attract Your Tribe Accelerator, we have a video huddle. And so every single week, everybody in the program, we're online, and I run through a process that we use, a structure for every call. So before we get to the hot seating, the first thing I ask people is, please share something to celebrate this week, because I really want people to have an intention of looking for the positives. Cindy, and I always wait to go, oh, what's Cindy got this week? Because Cindy totally practices what she preaches, in that every single week she's either sharing a story of how she used the law of attraction to manifest something very, very specific, or she's sharing a story of how she's helped a client either through the emotion code or through the law of attraction to get a specific result, and how rewarding that was for her. And so, yeah, from behind the scenes, I'm really witnessing a woman who's living what she's preaching. Now, if you can just briefly explain to people, what is the emotion code and what sort of outcomes do people get from that?
Sure, absolutely. The emotion code is a type of energy healing. It's something that I do on a virtual basis. So I work with clients all around the world, because I do it just like this on a video call.
Yeah.
And what we do with the emotion code, we tap into your subconscious mind, and that's really your library of everything that has ever happened to you. You might not consciously remember it, but your subconscious does. And your subconscious also stores the emotions that were associated with the events that have happened in your life. And, you know, unfortunately, some of those emotions are negative, and they can actually get stuck in our physical bodies. So
Mm.
with the emotion code, I tap into your subconscious mind and locate those trapped emotions and then release them. And when you have these trapped emotions, how it really relates to entrepreneurs, it can cause you to feel stuck. It can cause you to feel not good enough. Maybe you want to attract your ideal client, but you're worried that, well, there's not enough of them, or they just wouldn't be interested in me. And those kind of negative thoughts can come from the emotions that you've trapped. So that's why I've really married the emotion code with law of attraction, because they beautifully support each other.
Mm.
If you can release those negative feelings that you have from past events, then it's like a burden has been lifted off your shoulders. That emotional baggage is gone, and it's much easier to move forward in your business. And that's what I'm finding, with myself and my clients as well.
Mm. It's interesting because I actually had a session with Cindy on the emotion code, and this was actually before even the Attract Your Tribe program had been launched, not even the accelerator program. And I had just gone through all of my total pivot of closing Wonderful Web Women and launching a whole new brand with Romance Your Tribe and new programs. And the thing was, when it came to the Attract Your Tribe program, I had all this stuff ready. It was what was fitting in perfectly, and I knew that I was going to be helping a lot of people get it out there. And for some reason, I kept on stuffing around. And it was driving me crazy because I was going, what is it, girl? Like, what is stopping you? Is it because this is so important to you? What is happening? And Cindy approached me and said, hey, would you like to try this sort of session? And I always approach these sorts of things where I go, look, this just sounds so woo-woo. And you know what? I really do not understand how this works. But you know what? I'm just going with the flow, because just because I don't understand how it works doesn't mean it doesn't. And so we did that session. And the really interesting thing is we're not looking at the problem. It was doing all this other stuff. But what I found was afterwards, I had the program launched within 2 weeks. And it wasn't because there was this eureka moment. I just suddenly thought, I just felt like, oh, this is easy. This is not such a big deal. And it was really, for me, and that was the only thing that had kind of changed. So yeah, I still go, how does that work? But yeah, so great. So yeah, so I think that's just an interesting thing. So you can always find out more from Cindy about how that sort of works. So let's now move on. So using the law of attraction, we're going to get into some very specific teaching here. So you've got a 3-step process. Now you've also got a gift for people. So if you can tell us what that is before we get started, so people might want to go and get that, and then we'll talk about that process.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have the 3-step process for effectively using the law of attraction, and I created kind of a cheat sheet. It's a 2-page cheat sheet, so it gives you these 3 steps and then just some tips on how to implement each step.
Great. Excellent. So they can get that. Where would they go to get that?
They can go to my website, cindytroast.com/contact. Just go to my contact page. You put in your email address and just a little message, send me the cheat sheet, and I will get that out to you.
Excellent. And there may very well be a link there anyway to an opt-in where people can get it easily if we're going to make that happen, baby. Yeah. Excellent. So now let's talk about the 3 steps. And I might actually leave a lot of this part of it over to you, Cindy. So I will try to get out of your way because you explain this so well. And then I'll just interject with questions if that's okay. So over to you, baby.
All right. So step 1 with the 3-step process for law of attraction is to identify your desire. And what this means is that when you want to attract something, whether it's new clients or money, or in my case, I recently attracted a car for myself, you need to be very specific, because if you just are thinking about, I want more clients, well, you could get any kind of client. And you might get clients that don't necessarily resonate with you or fit very well with your business. So the first step in using the law of attraction is to know exactly what you want and place a specific order to the universe. And so with this recent episode where I attracted my car, I literally wrote a list of everything that I wanted with the car, the make, the model, and this was a used car, by the way. It wasn't like I just went to a dealership and said, hey, I'm going to purchase a new car and here's everything I want. I actually placed my order with the dealership of the universe and ordered a used car. But I was really specific down to the finest detail. And so what that would look like with a client would be, you would make a list of what are the qualities that you want in your ideal client. It might be that you want someone who's really enthusiastic about the product or service that you offer. It might be that you want to work with just men or just women or a specific age group. But it's important to get very clear, and I really like to write it down and have a physical representation that I can look at every day and remind myself and in the universe, this is what I'm looking for.
Now, Cindy, when you were telling me the story around how you specifically attracted this very specific car that you wanted, the thing that I loved that you did, which to me was like totally taking control and doing a very specific order, that not only was it, you know, the color, the model, all of those sorts of things, I loved how you said, I don't want to be looking at lots and lots of different cars and choosing which one. So I want it that when I go online to search for this car, I only want there to be one, only one that meets those specific requirements. And also, I don't want to have to travel too far to get it. So it must be within at least 100 kilometers or miles, whatever you use in the US.
Right.
So I just thought, whoa, okay, that's being really specific, that there's only one. So can you share what happened?
Yes. Yeah, that was just so cool how that all came together. But that's exactly right, because I don't love car shopping. I don't want to go to 10 different dealerships and do 10 different test drives. So I specifically, made my list of all the things I wanted for the car, and then I wrote down, I want one to show up, and I want to know that that's the one for me. And I also had a specific price and all of that. So when it actually came to getting online and looking for the car, I did a search, used a search engine to find the car, and a whole list of these cars showed up. But I specifically wanted a silver with black leather interior. And so all these cars showed up, and it was a Volvo XC70, and there were red ones and white ones and black ones, whole bunches of multiple colors. But in all the search results, there was one silver with black leather interior.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. Now, this is, we'll move over to the next section because probably the next part of that story comes in there. But for me, that was, because you may have heard about you've got to be specific. But I love how Cindy here has shown, well, you know what? Specific to me is I don't want to hassle. Like it's not going to be, I just want this car. Like, I don't want to hassle. So it's not just controlling what car it is. It's controlling the circumstances underneath which you get there. So for me, if I'm then thinking about that when it comes to attracting your ideal client, like, it might be around, they're going to be, this age, this probably this gender, and this is their specific situation. But it also may come into other things with you that might be, this is a person that, like for example, I have found with me that I get really good results with people who have got a proven track record in achieving something else before. And so quite often that might be, so for example, with you, Cindy, getting through an incredibly traumatic, life-threatening situation, and getting through that with grace and real positivity. So for me, that was, okay, I can see somebody here that's got through something. I often find if I work with people who've done something like with sport, people who have, really focused on a sport or an instrument, something like that, and mastered it, has demonstrated. So I might go, and you know what? The only people who come to me are people who can demonstrate that they have actually got results in something else before. Because, that, for example, that's being very, very specific, not just, it's getting down to their character as well.
Hmm.
And they stick within us on something.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah, that's perfect. And I
yeah.
think it's really important to get that specific,
Mm,
because not only are you giving out that energy to the universe that that's what you want, but if you are that specific, then you'll recognize them when they show up.
yeah, yeah, good
Does
point.
that make sense?
Absolutely, because it's not as clear as getting the silver Volvo with the black lining. That's obvious.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So now let's move over to the second step, because there is a little bit that comes with this story, doesn't it, about this perfect one single car. So
Yes.
over to you, baby.
Yeah. So the second step is to give your desire attention. So whatever it is you're wanting to attract, you want to give it attention. And with the car, I didn't start looking for the car right away. I thought, I'm going to give the universe a few days here just to arrange everything for me and get it perfectly organized. But I think it's very important when you're trying to attract something that you take action, not only in your mind, as in you can daydream about what you want, you can visualize what you want, but I think it's important to take action in the real physical world as well.
Great.
So you could create a dream board if you wanted. That would be something you could do that would be a real physical representation of what you want. In my case, I knew that I would be trading in my old car, so I cleaned it out. I took it to a car wash and got it completely detailed and cleaned and just gone through, so that as soon as the new car was ready, the old car was also ready to be traded
Excellent.
in.
Yeah.
So it's things like that. Take action in the real world that supports what it is you're trying to attract. And in terms of clients, if you're, let's say, a coach, you probably have on your computer, you probably have file folders and documents that you have organized with your clients' names and information. So create some new folders. Create, client number 1 folder and client number 2 folder for these new
Mm,
people that are coming in. If you have some type of onboarding package or a welcome package, go through that and see, does every document in this welcome package correspond and give the energy of the exact type of client that I want to attract? Maybe you need to clean up something in your welcome packet or change it out in some way. But
mm.
when you're taking those real world actions, you're not just sitting there hoping that a new client shows up or wishing that a new client shows up. You're demonstrating and you're putting forth the energy of, hey, I'm ready. I'm ready for this to happen.
Yeah, yeah, that is brilliant. And I like how you also mentioned, when we talked about this before, that you even contacted your mechanic to say, I'll be
I
bringing
did.
around a car in a few days. I want you to check
Yeah.
it out for me. So you also
Yeah.
involved other people
Yeah.
in that.
And I think that's really a good idea, to get other people's positive energy kind of compounding on your own positive energy. I mean,
Mm.
my husband and I had talked about purchasing this car, but when I got, serious and decided that this is what I was going to do, I checked to see what was his schedule for the next few days, because I said, hey, we're going to be going and getting this car. So I knew he wanted to go with me. So I just made sure I knew what his schedule was. And
Yeah.
yeah, I called the mechanic and said, what's your schedule like for the next few days? Can you get me in? Because I'm going to be bringing you this car to inspect before I buy it.
Yeah, that is excellent. I love it. So yeah, so that's your challenge, everybody. So far, it's getting specific on the type of clients that you want. And we've talked about like really getting very specific. It's not just what you would do when you were describing who your avatar is. We're getting really super specific
Mm-hmm.
on that, down to the point with Cindy's example of, I only want there to be one. So because I don't want to spend any time choosing. And then we've got the next thing is start taking those actions as, preparing yourself. Okay, I'm ready for the clients, for example, do I have a booking calendar so I can just book them in? Simple things like that. So the next step, what's the third step in that, Cindy?
Yes, the third step is allowing. And, Janet, I've studied the law of attraction for years with many different teachers, different seminars I've gone to, webinars, books I've read. And I really think that this third step is probably the least taught and the least understood.
Right.
I think the first two steps, pretty much that's well known, and people teach those steps, but allowing, I think, is not so well understood or taught. And I think this is where a lot of people get hung up. So I just want to define allowing, because that may not be a term that people really recognize. So what I mean by allowing is, in just very simple terms, allowing is the absence of doubt or the absence of limiting beliefs. Does that make sense?
I love that allowing is the opposite of doubt. Mm-hmm. That's fantastic. So how can you explain, what does that actually look like?
Yeah. So in terms of a client, attracting new clients, you really have to consider what are my beliefs about attracting a new client. You might want new clients like crazy. You might be just feeling like, I have to get some new clients. I have to get ideal clients. Maybe the people that you're currently working with are not ideal. But if your desire is really high, that's only part of the equation. So if you're really thinking about how much you want clients, but then the next thought in your head is, oh, but I don't deserve it, or oh, I'm just not really good enough, or there's so many people doing what I do, there's probably not even enough people out there that would want to work with me.
Yeah,
those are all limiting beliefs. And so if you, it's kind of like a scale, you know, if one side is really high and you've got all this, you know, you're really wanting, and you've got all this really high doubt, it's like a block. It just doesn't work, because the law of attraction is trying to get there for you, but it's just being blocked by the really high doubt that you have. It kind of cancels out the wanting or the desire.
So do you have any tips for people on what can they be doing as at least a first step to allow?
For sure. One thing is to be aware of what your limiting beliefs and negative thoughts are.
Right.
And I really suggest that you get them out of your head onto paper, because they're much easier to challenge. So often our limiting beliefs, we say them so many times in our head that we hardly even hear them, but they really affect the energy that we send out. So it's something that I call a thought download. And so if you're thinking about, okay, I really want to attract my ideal client, sit down with a piece of paper and a pen and think about and kind of listen to your own brain and say, what are the thoughts that just came into my head when I just said, I really want to attract that ideal client? What was my next thought? Was my next thought, oh yeah, I know they're coming and I can't wait till they get here? Or was the next thought, well, who am I kidding?
Yeah.
So that will really help you to see, what am I really thinking? What are my limiting beliefs? And then challenge them. You know, if you have them written down, you can challenge those beliefs and say, okay, wait a minute, is this really true? Is it really true that I'm not good enough, or that there aren't enough people who really would want to work with me? So that's one way to do it. Another thing I really like to do is something that I call the proof list or the proof journal.
Right.
And again, it's writing things down. And basically what you do is you make a list, or in your journal, you write down things that you already have attracted. And we all attract things every day, whether we're doing it consciously or unconsciously. But I'm certain in some time in your life, you have attracted things that you have actually wanted, big or small. So if you just think back on your life and think about, okay, what have I actually attracted? Maybe it was a great client in the past that you've attracted, maybe a job that you attracted, maybe some unexpected money came into your life. If you start noting those things, that gives you proof of your attract ability, if you want to call it that, your ability to attract. So if you see with evidence that your ability to attract is really pretty good, then your doubt goes down, and then what you want can come to you much more easily.
I love it. And you know, the interesting thing that you've said there, there's a couple of things, and these are challenges that I'm going to be giving to everybody that's listening here, is do that exercise of writing down. I love how you said, have the thought of, I'm going to attract this really specific, beautiful client, and just really listen to what your internal mind says. Because as you were doing this, my internal mind, because I absolutely love working with the people in my accelerator program. Like, they're really great people. Like, I've attracted really wonderful clients to work with. And I love working it so much that I'm thinking, you know what, this is going to be, I want to get this program to help more people. But I notice my gut reaction after that is, how am I going to make sure that I look after everybody just as well as I am now?
Right.
And so for me, I'm very, very aware that that is the thing that comes up with me. So it's not a self-doubt. It's, how can I, I've got to ensure that I can help everybody, that I can maintain the standard. And I know that just involves, getting in other people to help. That's not a big deal. There's great people out there. So that's a really interesting thing, is to then go, okay, well, I recognize that. Then going back to your steps of, you know what, maybe there needs to be attracting the perfect people to help. So so it doesn't necessarily have to be that it's going to be those doubts around, can you attract them? It could even be a doubt of, whoa, how am I going to cope when I do?
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. So there can be that side of it as well. So, we've gone, looks like your internet has, I'm just going to pause this for a tick. Oh, and we're back. We just had a freezing moment there with the internet. So yeah, write that list of what comes through, and what I challenge you to do is, you can come here to the blog post where we've got the Facebook page, where we've got this post. Just leave your comments down below. What sorts of things have come up for you? Or if you want to do that privately, send a message to Cindy. Send a message to me. We'd really love to hear from you. So this doesn't just have to be that you've listened. Let us know whether it's going to be privately or whether it's going to be, if you're happy to share that publicly, because it's going to help other people as well. So that's my number one challenge to you. And that number two challenge is, have a look and, what things have you manifested? For example, I know, Cindy, when I'm clear and on fire and no doubt, honestly, it is ridiculous. Like, I will open up I will have had the same marketing that's been happening, and all of a sudden my inbox will get full of people saying, can I work with you? I will have joint venture partners who I promoted 6 months ago contact me and say, oh, I've got some money I want to send you for a few $1,000s. I think, whoa, that's just, so they're, examples. They work really, really well. So have a look at what's worked for you. And the other thing that I've noticed for me, if I look at other areas for me that I know I have manifested with absolutely no doubt, which is, I have really great relationships with my family, with my children, with my husband, with my mother, sister. I don't doubt at all that I am loved, and I don't doubt that I'm lovable and can love. So there's absolutely no doubt there. So for me, that may not seem like a really obvious use of the law of attraction, but I just absolutely expect it. There is absolutely no doubt there at all. So it could be in other things that you may not necessarily recognize that would go into that book. So I love those two examples. Thank you so much, Cindy. One thing I did find was around that expectation. I remember when you first told me the story about your car, that it was actually $1,000 more expensive than you wanted. So can you share what happened there?
Yes, so I had a very specific price that I was willing to pay for the car, and I was not going to budge on that price. So when I eventually did start looking online and saw the one silver Volvo XC70 with black leather interior, and it had everything. It had all of the options, everything that I wanted, except it was $1,000 over the price that I wanted to pay.
Right.
So I said to the universe, okay, this feels like the car for me. However, it's $1,000 over the price. So I said, if this is the car for me, then please allow the price to drop by at least $1,000. And at that point, I closed out of the search that I had been using, and I didn't worry about it. You know, I thought,
Right.
okay, again, I'm going to give the universe a day or two to figure this out and get that price adjusted if it is the car that I'm supposed to purchase. So I waited a couple days, and, you know, I did not get back online. I didn't get back to the search engine every 5 minutes looking to see if the price had dropped.
Right.
I wasn't anxious about it. I just assumed that if this was my car, then the price was going to drop.
Yeah.
So I think that's an important key, because you don't want to be putting forth that anxious, worried energy,
Mm,
or feeling like, oh, what if it doesn't happen? Or what if somebody else gets that
right.
client that I needed? So I think your energy is very important. So I just waited a couple of days and, you know, continued cleaning out my car and things like that. And then I got back online a couple days later, looked up the car again, and the price had dropped by exactly $1,000. Yeah.
I
And I
just
get
love that
chills. I
story.
just get
That is,
chills even now because it was so awesome.
oh, that is so fantastic. And that's the car that you're driving now.
That's the car I'm driving today. Yes.
Yeah, we'll put a photo on the website
Yeah.
of Cindy in the car, because it's just such, yeah, I love that last part there. That yeah, that's like it's not 100% what I said. So I'll just come back. You get the order right, okay?
Right.
Fantastic. I just love it. I just love it. So in wrapping up, I just with the things that we've covered is I really loved right from the very very beginning how Cindy was with attracting her own clients, how she was really clear about what kind of people she really likes hanging out with, what gives her joy for people that works with. So she was demonstrating right there at the beginning, not just, you know, what type of business they're in, but that joy of working with entrepreneurs. And so I think that was a really nice lesson for people to be able to to look at. We also looked at the emotion code and the power of the subconscious, and sometimes just being open to woo-woo, because it's just may not be something we understand yet. And then looking at those 3 steps. So could you just give us the labels of those 3 things, Cindy, and then just share with us where people can go to get that cheat sheet to be able to help them take action?
Yep, absolutely. So step 1 is identify your desire, get very clear on that.
Mm-hmm.
Step 2 is give your desire attention, both mentally and in the real physical world. And step 3 is allow it, or eliminate your doubt.
I love it. Thank you so much for that. And where, if you can just say the URL again, where people can go to get that cheat sheet.
Sure. It's cindytroast.com/contact. That's my contact page. Just enter your email address and a little message. You can just say, send me the cheat sheet, and I will be happy to do that.
Excellent. And if you're listening to this in a little bit later, there will probably be somewhere where you can just click to opt in, because that's what Cindy and I are working on. We're going to make that happen. So thank you so much, Cindy. I absolutely adore Cindy's approach to this, because she's just very calmly, very methodical, and also just very grounded in experience, which is fantastic. So thank you so much, Cindy, and everybody that's listening. You know, I've put some challenges out to you here today, so I'd really love to be able to hear from you, and I know that Cindy would love to hear from you as well. And what would also be really exciting to hear from you is if you follow these 3 steps, give yourself something at the moment that you're going to be focusing on, that you want to attract specifically. If you follow those 3 steps and you've got a story to tell us, please contact Cindy or I, or leave it in the comments section where you're listening to this. We would really, really love to hear that and celebrate with you. So, because there is nothing more rewarding than seeing people take action with what we take the time to share with you. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Go forth, have a great time, take action. And thank you so much, Cindy, for sharing your wisdom with us.
Thank you.